Paris, you committed early to Ohio State when Urban Meyer was head coach, and then you stuck with them. So first, I just want to know, what made you pick Ohio State so early in the process?
I grew up, I was an Ohio State fan growing up. I came on a visit here, and I walked away from the visit amazed, whole family being from the state up north. So Coach Meyer, he really impressed me and my mom. And my mom is a kind of a hard person to impress. So he left basically like lasting memory in my head, like, this might be a good option for me. So that's still led me to commit pretty early.
So then Urban Meyer retires and you start building a relationship with Ryan Day. What was it about Day that kept you here?
Coach Day is he is a really big family man. So for me, my mom, my little sister, they felt very comfortable here. The culture here, I would say it remained the same. So for me, I felt right at home still, So building that relationship process with Coach Day, it felt the same as with Coach Meyer,
And part of building the relationships is getting here early, which is exactly what you've done. You actually transferred your senior year of high school just so you could early enroll. Why was that important to you?
It was important to me because throughout the recruiting process, I realized a lot of the top players who play early, what they had to do was make that sacrifice of enrolling early, missing out on some things with their senior year. And for me, I feel like I put my college career ahead of, my high school experience because I feel like this is more important to me, it's more important for my career. And not only as an athlete, but as a student, to be able to possibly graduate in 3 years is an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. So.
Speaking of opportunities, you're the top tackle in this class. You're the #1 recruit coming out of Ohio. You mentioned you're from here, from Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. So in your first season, what are your expectations for yourself? Because it's not always at this position that you can have an immediate impact, but what do you want to see out of yourself?
I would like to see myself can I start over?
Yeah. Do you want me to start over the question?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll do this one again. So you're the top tackle in this class. You're the #1 recruit out of Ohio. Now, sometimes it can be tough at this position to have an immediate impact, but what are the expectations for yourself right away?
I want to come in, and this spring I want to learn the playbook. I want to get as many reps as possible, but for me, my biggest goal for this season, I want to compete for a spot, and only I control that through working hard, getting the playbook, and earning respect from my teammates and the coaching staff. But I want to compete for a spot this year, God willing. And, if that's not in God's plan for me to compete and have a starting spot this season, I definitely want to get in the rotation as much as possible. I want to take as many reps this season because I want to see the field. That was part of my reason for early enrolling.
I was just going to say, so part of that, you early enroll. I know, too, I was reading nutrition is a big deal to you. Your mom goes grocery shopping and buys everything for you. I think I also read you eat 4 turkey sandwiches for lunch just alone. But how has it been now making the transition to the college game, going through these winter workouts?
I would feel like as far as from the nutrition standpoint here, the staff here is amazing and they take care of us. So food is never something to worry about. It's more like, oh man, I have all this food. Let me make sure I don't overdo it now, So. And the strength staff here is amazing. I would say, the changes that my body has gone through, I can see already from the first couple weeks. And the mat drills and stuff like that is amazing. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm having fun with it. So I come in here, I'm working hard, and they're straining me and they're pushing me. But in the end, I'm smiling because, this is what I wanted. This is the reason why I early enrolled. I couldn't get this same experience, if I would have, if I didn't transfer.
And finally, we talked about how you're from Cincinnati. What is it like to get the opportunity to play for your home state?
I feel like that was also a big reason I wanted to stay at Ohio State. I wanted to get a Buckeye tree. I want to be an All-American here. I feel like if I can become a legend in state, that means more, especially as offensive lineman where they don't get a lot of credit. I feel like for me, if I do that and I become a big name in state, it's bigger than if I go somewhere else and do the same thing. So I felt like I could create a lasting legacy here and with that be able to have a wider base to basically bring attention to things outside of football,
And last question, actually, one more for you. Your dad played in the NFL. How has that helped shape your preparation and to get to this point?
I would say my dad inspired me to play football, him being a Red Hawk and they went to the league. Coach Wilson on the staff was one of the coaches on that staff when he was at Miami. but I would say he really wasn't part of my development and getting here. I will honestly give it all to my mom. He was sort of in and out of my life. I would say it's really my mom that's really been there. She didn't play football, but man, she is all into. You'll probably hear her on the sidelines in the stands, 110,000, but you will hear her. So I would say she was probably the biggest part of my development of getting here.
Well, we look forward to hearing her and seeing you this season. Thanks, Paris.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Julian, you were recruited by some of the top schools in the country. One of your last visits, if not your last visit before committing here, was to Alabama. You made visits to Penn State. So what was it that went into the decision to picking Ohio State?
I mean, just the feeling of home. That was the main thing that really drew me in. The coaching staff really made me feel welcome. The players always welcomed me in with open arms. Really told me about the program, and, I just fell in love with it from there.
You are the #1 wide receiver in this class. You're the #3 overall recruit. What are the expectations for yourself going in this year?
I mean, as everybody, you always have high expectations for yourself. But, at this point, I'm just looking to contribute any way possible in the field.
Speed is your game. A 4.45, 40, I think that you run. How is that going to translate now at this level? How do you use that?
I mean, it's going to be a little bit different because, there's a lot of kids out here running 4.4s, 4.45s, 4.5s, anything like that. So just all going to be about perfecting my craft and, hopefully continue to improve.
Talk to me, too, about the offense that you were running in high school. It was more of a run-oriented offense. So first, how were you able to have the production that you did?
My coach drew up a couple plays, and, we switched. We got a little bit more balance as time went on, but freshman year was primarily run, and then sophomore, junior, senior year, he looked to throw the ball a little bit more. So I'd say that helped me develop, too, as well. But it was a Delaware wing tee, so we do run the ball a lot, too.
You talk how it helped you develop, or you developed over time. How did that work in terms of you as a wide receiver, not always getting the targets and the catches you want, but still getting the looks from schools? How did that process go for you then?
I mean, it was a little bit rocky. Not really, though. I mean, it was good. It went well. A lot of schools like this. I'm not getting that many targets. They like to see what you do when you don't have the ball in your hand. So, I like to block a lot in high school. I'm hoping I can continue to do that in college. And, it was always just looking for big playability. And, when I got the ball in my hands, it was just something I was always looking to do, is get in the end zone.
So when you talk to Ryan Day, even Brian Hartline, what is it about this offense that appealed to you?
I mean, everything, really. I mean, there's a balanced offense. I mean, you saw sometimes this year J.K. was getting, 30, 40 carries a game, but at the same time you're distributing it through, every receiver on the team. A lot of receivers get in the game, so it's just I just fell in love with everything about this place.
We talked about your speed. If I'm not mistaken, you ran track in high school as well. How can that help you in this game?
I mean, track's a big thing that translates into football. I ran the 100. I did the long jump. Those are probably my two best ones. I ran the 400, but that really doesn't have much to do with football. But, the 100 is just, explosiveness, acceleration, and at the same time, so is long jump. You're just running that whole way to get a big burst at the end. So I think it's all going to, how you come off the ball. And, one thing I need to work on at this point is just getting in and out of breaks.
How have you already noticed yourself develop as you come here early and go through these winter workouts?
I developed a lot, I think, as a player, and also got very humbled at the same time. It's a lot different from high school, but so far it's been fun. It's been very competitive, and it's just been a great time competing.
14 early enrollees, a few wide receivers in that group as well. So what has the relationships been like as you develop them early?
With all the receivers,
everyone, the receivers and everyone.
I mean, I think we all had prior relationships existing to this. So once we got here, everybody kind of just clicked in. And, we're all close with each other. We go to each other's dorm rooms. We all interact with each other on the weekends and everything like that. So I'd say it's a very close class.
Julian, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
CJ, you were visiting 4 or 5 top campuses in the country before deciding on Ohio State. So what made you want to become a Buckeye?
Just the brotherhood and the tradition here. I mean, coming from the West Coast, you don't necessarily get to see those things at the local schools there. But I think those are great programs, but it's just different here, and it's different in the Midwest. It's different in the South. And I think that's something I just want to be a part of. I just wanted to be able to be part of the brotherhood of the Buckeyes and be able to play in front of 105,000. That's one of my dreams. So I think that was one of my hard decisions to make this.
You're the top quarterback recruit in the Big Ten in this class. Describe what the recruitment process for you was like, because relative to other players, in a sense, by committing on signing day, it was late, but you're here early now. So describe the whole process.
The process was like a roller coaster. I mean, it was up and down. I started off like no one knew me, and I just think that God, He had a plan for my life, and that He put me on the national stage, and I had the opportunity to go to the opening. And I think that that's where I kind of like everybody knew me, like got to know me, and got to see how I got to play, and also how I was as a person. So I think that my recruiting has been very. I wouldn't go back and change it at all, and I think that everything went well.
You mentioned the opening, and we were talking about it before, how you were one of the last invites to that. And I heard you talking to just your entire life you have been called the underdog, or that's the role that you feel that you've taken on. Explain how that has motivated you in this process.
It's motivated me just to get up and work every day. I mean, I think my life has been anything but easy, but I mean, I thank God for just having to be able to breathe every day and just be able to be here. And I think my life is definitely blessed, and I think that everything is going to take care of itself, and I think I'm just going to keep God first.
I should also mention that you were MVP then of the opening after being one of the last invited. We talked about how all that has motivated you, but then how has it prepared you for the role that you could take on here at Ohio State? And obviously we know Justin Fields and what he can do, and then you coming in this situation. How has everything prepared you now for what could happen?
I think everything's preparing me just to just go with football and with life is just every day, like getting 1% better every day. You can't really control everything. I think one of the mottos that I live by every day is control the controllables. So I can only control how I work, I can control how I throw the ball, but I can't control how somebody thinks about me. But I think Justin is definitely, I think he's the best quarterback in the country, and I think that he'll prove that this year. I think that I have a lot to learn from him. He's been teaching me already, so I think definitely this process and my 3 to 4 years here are going to be great for me learning and get ready for the next level.
You say that Justin has already been teaching you. What have you learned from him?
I've been just learning the system and the program here. Learning, he gives me like feedback on like when we come here and we throw routes, just me and him and some of receivers. So like it's just like one-on-one. He shows me like the feet work. He shows me how we read like certain plays and how we read coverages. So I mean it's just been like everything in a nutshell with him, and he's very more intelligent than people really think.
Your relationship also with Ryan Day and new quarterbacks coach Corey Dennis, how has that grown over time, and even being here early, how that's helped?
It's been awesome. I mean, just knowing that you have two great men behind you and that they're rooting for you, and that just I think Coach Dennis is definitely stepping into his role very well. I think Coach Dennis is going to be a great quarterback coach one day. He's been awesome with tailoring his teaching to like our learning. And I think Coach Day, he kind of just like oversees everything, and we haven't really got to meet with him yet. But when time comes, I think that we're just going to learn from him, and I think that's going to make us one of the best units of like being quarterbacks in the country.
I heard you going through winter workouts now. You're already seeing results and changes in your body. Exactly what have you noticed?
I've gained, I think like 10 pounds. I'm not like 8 pounds, so I'm like 198 now. Almost my goal weight for spring is 205. And I plan to.
Hey, Julian. One day, could this be a duo?
It already is. Yes, ma'am.
My quarterback.
Yeah, so I think my body's already developed. I'm already getting stronger. I see I called my mom the other day. She was like, "You look bigger." I'm like, hopefully that's a good thing. So it's kind of like those things that I'm like excited for.
You're a big basketball player. That was actually your first love, and it was tough for you to really commit to football. How has basketball impacted your game?
It's made me very versatile. I feel like people don't really believe it, but like it correlates with football like very much. And I think a lot of the pocket movements very help me, like a crossover is like spinning out. So like many things help me. So I think that kind of separates me and my footwork from a lot of people. I think that basketball background helps me like with agility and be able to like cut. And I think me playing point guard in basketball, it makes you like see everything, your vision. And I think that, I mean, that's probably one of the most important things of being a quarterback. You have to be able to see where you're throwing. So I mean, when you're able to see where you have to make plays in basketball, it correlates with both.
We talked about what you've already learned from Justin, but just what do you want to take away from the spring, being here early, and then just get out of year one?
I definitely just want to get better every day, grow 1%. That's been kind of like my motto for this spring and I think for the whole off season. And I think that I just want to be able to be a positive role model for my team and for my unit, and be able to, whenever my name is called, just to be ready. And if that does happen, just be ready for my unit, be ready for my team, and just get a W.
And finally, we saw Julian come over here, 14 early enrollees. What have the relationships been like? How have they developed?
I think we were all like close before we got here, but like just going through this grind and going through this process, it just makes you like love them just like 100 times more. Like we all hang out with each other, we all go out to eat, we all go to the movies. Like we do just little things that people don't like really see, but it's all out of love. And I think that when you're going through this like these hard workouts together and we're all doing it for the first time, it just makes it so much easier.
CJ, thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you.